Hi, good morning all. I think on behalf of DHL, a very warm welcome to all of you. As you can clearly see here, the topic of the presentation is all about giving a jaw-dropping experience to our customers. And I think when you look at the D2C ecosystem, I think all of us are here. The ecosystem is here for the sake of the customer. And therefore, the intent is to see how we can, raise the bar and delight our customers. And when you look at the D2C information flow, or the three legs as we call it, you can have a pre-checkout flow, a checkout flow, and a post-checkout flow. And when you think of logistics players like us, you may think of us as being in the post-checkout flow, where we help you with fulfillment and many other things. But as part of my presentation, I'll try to give you a sense as to how can we really help D2C brands grow, even on the pre-checkout phase, with the ability of data, and on the post-checkout phase, with the ability of the massive brick and mortar supply chain, with the fact that the economies of scale will make sense for every D2C brand, and how can we really leverage on scale to create economies of scale? That's the whole, kind of play that DHL wants to play, both in the logistics industry should play both in the post-checkout and in the pre-checkout phase. So when we look at, the whole scenario, I think what we believe is that when we look at the big guys of the future, I think it should be our ability to manage peaks and troughs, for example. I think this slide clearly talks about Diwali peaks or Independence Day peaks, and we firmly believe that the D2C brand which will differentiate themselves would be the ones who are able to delight the customers during the peaks as well. And that's a key theme, and as I go on, I'll probably talk about a few solutions as well. And therefore, the ability of a D2C brand to acquire a customer and do magic when the peak happens is very, very critical. And you would always need a logistics partner to make it happen, because as you scale up, you can't do everything yourself. And therefore, what is it that you want to slice and dice to manage those peaks and really give jaw-dropping experience to your customers as well? In addition to that, if you look at, the way the ecosystem works, the Indian consumer has diverse tastes, diverse interests, and they can buy from various sources. How do we really, once you have spent a lot of money on acquiring customers, how do you then ensure that the customer stays and goes through a journey where they tend to pick your brand over anybody else, and the stickiness is also there? And I think that's also something very, very important. You will be thinking, what can a logistics player do about it? And we'll talk about that as well. And therefore, when we look at the current D2C brands, and I think with Red Sea, we talked about various channels. I think there is very good data which says that, say by 2025, 30% of the traffic should go to the brand.com, which is sitting in the center, like your own brands, right? Which means that you're able to own the end-to-end customer relationship. If the traffic is on your brand, you know what the customer is, you can own the end-to-end journey of the customer as well, and that's one key part. And therefore, what a logistics partner can do is to provide a very standardized and streamlined fulfillment. And I think it could be a foundation for success, as we have seen. I think our experience over the last 25 years on the normal big B2B business is a lot of learning which the D2C brands can take from there. And I think the ultimate objective is to build a business to scale. And you cannot build a business of scale if you do not standardize and streamline your processes. We talk about fulfillment here. I represent logistics, and therefore the theme is more around fulfillment. But generally speaking, if you're not able to streamline and standardize every process of yours, it will be tough to scale. And when you scale, you will find challenges around it. And that's the current theme we'll try to work on. And I'll try to put some problem statements and try to see what value can logistics add to help grow the D2C environment and provide a jaw-dropping experience. So when you look at this, I think it's pretty simple. It is about you having two options to buy a phone. Which one will you pick? The one that gives you instant gratification, which means what? You will tend to pick up something that reaches you as fast as possible, right? So when you look at the three legs of flow, as I called it, the pre-checkout, the checkout, and the post-checkout. When you look at here, the checkout and the post-checkout process took about 10 seconds, right? So the person ordered, it arrived at the desk of the person. So the delight that a customer gets on the checkout and the post-checkout process was fantastic here. And I think it's not about delivery. The last mile delivery is key, but what I'm trying to allude is that's not the only element that would really give that jaw-dropping experience to your customer. So what is it that we can really work on beyond that? So I think it's about how are we able to process orders and manage it with speed, quality, and value. I think we have actually seen a lot of credible evidence. I was in Korea, and we saw that a luxury retailer loved the way we do a bow tie on the final shipment. So when we when we do the shipment and we do a bow, the way the bow is done and the way that bow is, when the packet arrives to a customer, it differentiates that brand. And we are investing a lot of time and energy to see that there is nobody else in Korea who can do a better bow than us. And that's a small value. You may think it's very trivial, but it's a very small thing that ticks with the customer, because before opening the luxury box, the customer was delighted with the quality of the bow that somebody was able to do. And if you're able to do it at an industrial scale with the speed, that's magical, right? And I think these are some small things which a D2C brand can really leverage on, that a customer, before opening the box, what is the differentiator that you're creating that the customer carries through? You know what? Hey, that has stuck with me. And the bow in Korea has stuck. It's a reality. And that's magical, right, for a brand to grow. I think that's a small value add piece, and there is so much on value, too tough to capture in the 10 minutes. I think there are a lot of people outside in the ecosystem, including us, who would love to talk to you about that, and we can educate ourselves more and more around it. So I think that's the beauty of value add, and that's the beauty of ability to do speed and quality around, say, order processing. When you talk about beyond that, I think India is generally high interest rates across the globe as well. We've always had a high working capital. Always India has, so the working capital, we're not a Japan where the interest rates are low. We always have working capital issues. And therefore, how do you really ensure your working capital is sweating and doing all the right thing? And that's where I think, how do you place your stuff, and what do you do is very important for you. When you look at this one, I think all of you spend a lot of time and energy in acquiring customers. And when the customer is there are a lot of clicks happening, right? The customer is adding to the cart. But are you able to fulfill that? I think, so you've spent a lot of time and energy in acquiring customers, and then, oh my God, the day happens, there's a lot of traffic, and but the fulfillment fails because you're not able to deliver. Many reasons. It could be parts not available, SKU is not available, your fulfillment partner not doing its job, and therefore, all the pre-checkout experience that you created for the customer in terms of doing all the magic around sales channels, branding, digital, fails because due to the clicks itself, somebody was not able to do the job in the last instant, for example. I think that's where I think it's omni-channel is a way forward for you guys as well as we see it. So when we look at the number of clicks, and so how can we really service your customer? So what we believe is that you can service your customers through a warehouse, a fulfillment center, if you have a brick and mortar store, and many, many channels, and therefore that's a way to go for you to ensure that when the clicks are coming, you make it happen. I think as I represent the logistics industry, and I think we firmly believe that returns is a big problem to solve. This is a D2C environment, and if you go to B2B, and you go back 20, 25 years back, when we all started using laptops, desktops, and printers in a very, very big way, the IT hardware community had a problem to solve, and the logistics industry has nailed it to death. I'll give you an example. When you look at a laptop, desktop, or a printer, it always has a return need. When the product is damaged, or it can be repaired, it can be thrown, or it can be refurbished, right? And therefore, that process was very archaic. There was no IT, and the process was bad 25 years ago. But the IT hardware industry, along with logistics, has nailed that process. If you look at it today, if there is a laptop of yours which is broken and you want to get it repaired, there's a clean process of the laptop coming to a logistics center, and there's a repair partner who would bring in a hard drive, and the hard drive gets replaced. A message goes to the engineer would come, he would do it at the site if possible. Otherwise, the laptop goes to a repair partner, it comes back, all digitally enabled, and many of the things happen in the warehouse itself. So what do is, why do you want to repair it outside? It's a loss. The more the number of touch points, the more cost you are adding into the system. In the B2B environment, we have solved this problem for the IT industry by doing something called L1, L2, L3, L4 repairs. I think repairs and refurbishment, you can do a lot of things in the warehouse itself. So if you train a logistics partner like us, that this is how I want you to behave, we learn very fast, by the way, and we can be your extended arm. So why does it need to go to a refurbishment center, by the way? There is no need, because the warehouse itself, the fulfillment center is geared up to do it, which means it stays there, it can do its disposition, and I firmly believe, and I think the logistics fraternity believes that the returns is the biggest, is the next holy grail, and the companies which do efficient returns with an efficient partner, with IT enablement, and a very strong brick and mortar will succeed. And it's a combination of both, right? A very strong IT and a very strong brick and mortar. And that's what I think, look at it, how much of your working capital is getting stuck in the returns process, and how can you make it more efficient? We have nailed it for the laptops, desktops, printers, routers industry. I'll not take the names of multinationals. We have nailed it with them to it took us 20 years to do it, but I think all of us can then leverage on that knowledge and move further. So that was more around, about my belief on the returns piece. And I think then it comes to planning. I think I've gone from the customer experience backwards, and when you look at your planning process, how can we really be best in class in terms of your ops planning, your inventory planning, and your SKU mix, and what to stock, how much and where to stock is one of the most difficult parts. Anybody who can nail how much to stock and where to stock is a winner. Because then you exactly know there's a demand in Calcutta, I should have a warehouse in Calcutta, I deliver it from there rather than the product being in Delhi, because it's going to take me 3 days. And that's the holy grail, and I think we are spending dozens of hours and millions of man days to solve that problem. And there are ways of doing it. This is just a very simple example of a DHL data suite, which is where you can actually see what are the various, as you call it, the 5 key parameters. I think very clear here. Are you out of stock or are you running out of stock? So you have spent a lot of time and energy in terms of acquiring customers. And the first point is, how do we know that you are going out of stock or you are running out of stock? And you may think, what is the role of a logistics partner in that? And you may try to do it yourself, but as you scale up, it will become more and more tough, as I talked about. Do you have too much of stock? Are you expiring? Is there a stock that is expiring? And when you see it, I think if you look at the first one, so if you look at a data tool, because we know whom we are shipping to, in the article master, there is always data available, and therefore using that data to really see, what is happening where, and we can really see, hey, you know what, you don't have stock, and therefore somebody may say you need to buy. But why do you need to buy? You don't need to buy because that stock is lying in some other warehouse. Because if you're running a fulfillment network anywhere, the first intuitive thing is, I don't have it, let me buy. But the system should be intuitive enough to tell you, hey, you know what, this is available somewhere else, and this is what it tells you. And that's where the working capital equation comes in. Pick it up from other warehouse. It will tell you where to pick it from. Can you optimize your stocks by moving inventory proactively as well? There is more sale in Jaipur, but not in Bhubaneswar, so what do we need to do? Can we just wait for a customer click, or can I do it earlier? I think that's very magical, and that's where a lot of dollars get stuck, and it will work. Do you have too much of stock? That's a big problem. I think we already see in the industry aging with stocks more than 30-40% of the stocks more than 365 days, and that's nonsense, right? It's actually muda sitting in the system, and what can you do about that? I think the system can provide you with aging, with telling you, okay, this is what is lying for more than 365 days, and what do you really want to do with it? You want to do a sale? You would have your own, your CFOs would have their own P&L, and they would like to provide provisions, and what do you want to do? I think you can take some actions around that if you really know what is not selling for you. And that's pretty good to know, right? And what is expiring? I think we saw in the Red Sea report, a lot of pharma players, and I think the expiry is a common theme, right? Even if you buy, even if I'm buying a shoe or a shirt, you look at the tag and want to see, intuitively we think, if it is made in March 23, it's new fashion, and therefore I want to buy the most latest product, right? And therefore, the Indian consumer mentality is always, am I buying the freshest product? And I think this really, really helps you with that. And many, many more. I think you can look at it, looks at by pieces, by value. And I think that's where a logistics partner can really do things which can help D2C brands give that kind of a jaw-dropping experience to your customers. And it's also about what is selling and what is not selling. On the right-hand side, you see the SKUs which are selling more and not selling, and what can we really do in terms of your planning and other processes. So that's a very, very strong data lake, as we call it. And therefore, when I talked about the pre-checkout and the checkout and the post-checkout process, this is your pre-checkout process. This is part of your creating how much to order, how much to buy, what to do, and this is all part of that process. So I think when I look at it overall, I think we believe that efficient fulfillment is key to jaw dropping, and therefore I try to explain to you that fulfillment is not just about a brick and mortar box doing great magical things for you, but it's about an ecosystem that a logistics company can build for you to really give a kind of a jaw dropping experience to our customers. And therefore, I think this is the key, and this is true for any good business, not just true for fulfillment, I would say, for any good business. I think we would say try to standardize standard operating procedures, standardize work instructions, standardize way of working, standardize contracts, standardize interaction with the customer, the way we interact, the way we do a QBR, the way we build our business. If it is standardized, and the same is true for logistics. Standardized trucking, standardized warehousing is the way to go, and that's where the monies are to be made. Being career agnostic, you can pick and choose. You should work with a partner who does not hold you. You know what? Sometimes it's a partnership and you know what is best, and you say, you know what, I don't want to work with this, but is there, so I think the point is to have algorithms where the best partner gets the best loads. Is it scalable? I think the other part is that you would go into tier 3, tier 4, tier 2 cities, and therefore is your business scalable? Is the fulfillment network scalable or not? And we have built a scalable network. Is it end-to-end visible? I think I demonstrated the fact that it is visible end-to-end. And I think in your business as well, you want to build a business which provides end-to-end visibility to your customers as well. Because at every part of the leg, the customer would like to know what is happening. And environmental friendly, I think there is no doubt about that. I think sustainability would be key, I think, for us. And I think that my beep was for me overstretching on the time. But I think sustainability is the next key part. And therefore, I think the key message from me to you is that we can help the D2C ecosystem in terms of helping you with jaw-dropping experience, both in India and beyond. And I think this is a map of India, and you're seeing the global footprint as well here. If you want to build a brand in India and globally, I think we can help and work together in helping you grow and building a jaw-dropping experience for our customers. And thank you very much.